be present, and a balanced offense. Don't just rely on DeBerg, but utilize all of those players. For Alabama, get Mizzou out of system right away. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Coach Devine mentioned about elevating their voice and to establish the block early. You're going to see some new faces, some taller blockers there for Alabama, so look for them to shut down their key hitters against Mizzou.
It's been a long time coming, but we are finally ready to bring you this match between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the top 10 ranked Missouri Tigers. First serve coming up here is, I'm sure these teams are ready. We're ready. What an exciting night this will be here in Foster Auditorium. First serve of the season will be the Texas transfer, Riley Fisbeck. Mentioned the newcomers in the intro. We'll get to all of them later on as the match and season begins. Over to Sauer. Now it's Ray, tipped over, but Missouri keeps it alive. What a way to start the match. Ray again. And that one down for a Missouri point. Anna Dixon firing it in.
Great shot by Dixon, taking advantage of a split between the block against Campbell and Campbell and Carter. You're going to see a lot of mix-ups in the front row for Alabama's block.
And Dixon serves it right into the net. 1-all. The head coach over watching, sitting down. Joshua Taylor, first season as the official head coach. He was interim coach for pretty much all of last year before being named about midway through. He is watching intently, excited to see what his team can do in their first match of the year. Sauer blocked. Alabama making some nice saves early in this match. And that one out. Point Bama. They'll say it was tip. Point Missouri as we take a look at Lindsey Devine, who went over to have a chat with the official about that one. Second season in Tuscaloosa for Coach Devine, and she seems really excited about her team this year, Natalie.
Yes, she has so many new faces, and she's building a program. Last year was her first year, and Coach Taylor, it was his beginning of his first year as interim. So both of them have a different look for the SEC.
Lecator member Monet getting some action already. Wasn't in the starting lineup, but she fires that serve and helps on the dig there. DeBerg is blocked. Point Alabama.
DeBerg trying to go line, but McElroy is a very tall block with Campbell closing on that right side. Great positioning by the block, and wonderful, wonderful play by the Alabama block. And DeBerg just is going to have to figure out how to maneuver around this much bigger block from Bama.
There's a chance for Omazic, blocked by Alabama. The block's coming often. Well, that one finds its way over. Point for Missouri, 3-2 here in the first set.
It looked like the ball came off a little long for Fuentes, trying to get it to Omazic, but she managed to get a good ball play, and it looks like it was out of bounds off of a block from the up ref.
5 points in. No sign of rust early on. A lot of good action between these two squads. Omazic will serve. Wells dug out. Here's DeBerg, and that one just wide, 3-all.
They're saying that there was a net violation.
No, you're right, I beg your pardon.
Against Alabama. Number 3, Fisbeck.
Instead, Omazic will serve again. Now Wells, that one deflected out, 4-3 Missouri.
Fisbeck showing her amazing athleticism. She, like we said, she's transferred from Texas, but that one-handed set, beautifully placed for Aaliyah Wells. Gorgeous offense right there.
Kennedy McElroy to serve, and That one just a bit long, but Coach Devine really excited about the sophomore FAU transfer, McElroy.
Everybody's playing a different role. You have Nealon coming in the back row for McElroy. She's a great cutoff backup setter for this 5-1 offense for Alabama. But you're right, McElroy already showing her presence as in her debut in the SEC.
Fuentes. There's Ray, and that one just sails a bit as well. Missouri's opened up a 3-point lead, 6-3.
But I like it. Ray, also newcomer for Alabama, just going in that backcourt. She just needs to try and hit angles. Right now, when you're hitting deep float, it's the first match of the season. You got to go for that first couple sure shots.
Another good serve by Fuentes. Doris Carter. Missouri now with a chance to respond to Berg, and that one is down. Missouri up 7-3 here in the first set.
Who we haven't talked a lot about is this young lady in yellow, Miss Brown, freshman. Great pass. It started the offense, so Fuentes could get it out there for DeBerg.
Fuentes, another nice serve from her. It's Wells, blocked but kept alive by Alabama. Doris Carter, and that one sails long as Alabama's missed a couple on the backside, and Missouri's up 8-3.
It looks like a little bit of jitters, and Coach Devine does not like what she sees.
And Missouri up 8-3 here in the first set. We'll step aside on the timeout.
Just keeping balls in system, and Alabama is not bettering the ball. You can tell they're just still trying to get a good feel for each other.
Yeah, it's been 10 months since the last time any of these teams played anybody else. Here's Doris Carter, and that one finds its way in to end the Missouri run, 9-4.
She is the firehouse. She's going to figure out a way to power through that ball, and with a great set by Fishback, right out, nice low tempo to that pin, back set, it gave Carter a lot of options. She's been their terminator for the last few years. Now as a senior, she is showing what she can do out there on the pin.
Yeah, had a career high in kills in the first meeting between these two last year at 23. That was her first of the match here tonight. This is Dixon. Now Wells, that one, a beauty. And Alabama's got 2 in a row.
It was packaged, sealed, and delivered. It was gorgeous, right on that pin. So Aaliyah Wells drew all the block out to that pin, and she had that whole line. Great setup by Fishback.
Alabama starting to get some energy on their side. As Kaylee Thomas sends it in. And right there is Kendall Ray, the freshman out of Highland Park, Texas. And quickly 3 in a row for the Crimson Tide.
Ray showing her presence so quickly in the SEC. Outside hitter, like you mentioned, 6'3". She played 5 years at the U.S. Open Finals. They finished 5th in 2017, showing a lot of promise.
That one into the net, ends the run. But Alabama showing some solid energy the last couple points. Both of these teams, again, just excited to play right here. And, you know, Alabama's been a little overamped on some of their shots, but Missouri has been up to the task so far. DeBerg will serve, and she serves it into the net, 10-7.
We're seeing a lot of back and forth, some of it serving mentality. You also are seeing a lot of different looks for both teams. It's just going to come down to the basics, the fundamentals first. Get this first set out of your system.
It'll be Wells to serve. To Sauer. Kept alive by Alabama, but now in some trouble. They get it over. Dixon. Nicely done. Out of bounds. 11-7 Missouri.
Ray and Campbell couldn't come over and close that ball. It was great hustle and defense by Nealon in that back court. Unfortunately, it just was a miscommunication over there on that outside pin.
Only freshman on the roster for Missouri. Emily Brown is the libero. She'll serve here.
Yeah, imagine that. Going into a pandemic season, you don't have any classmates to feed off of each other. It was a great little piece by Mizzou that did that about Miss Brown, and she just has adjusted so well, and now you're seeing her in the libero jersey. Great testament to the skill set and her poise.
Coach Taylor telling us it was Tiana Omazic who was really pushing Brown as the teams were getting ready for the season. Here is Campbell. And Sauer with a chance. Ray. Dixon. Ray again. Nicely done by Brown. Sauer. And that's another point for Missouri, 13-7.
I like the mix-up, both on the right side and the outside for Mizzou to split that block, make that block work for Alabama. And unfortunately, that defense did not shift over. And you have three of some of the best defensive players for Alabama in that backcourt with St. Germain and Thomas and Nealon.
Ray will have another chance, and no shot for Missouri to get to that one, as Alabama ends another mini Tigers run.
An advantage for being 6'3" is you can hit high hands. You get out of system, you can find a way to figure out how to hit those high hands. She hasn't been placing a lot of balls in court, but you can tell she's starting to warm up.
Already 9 total attacks for Kendall Ray, the freshman. Ray again, and another point for Alabama as Ray just kept getting the ball right there, and she finally found one that Missouri couldn't return.
Those overpasses are so fun because they're like a gift, and all three of those players right now for the block are, for Alabama, are new faces for the Crimson Tide, and they're just hungry. They want to play, and you can see some of that energy already.
Fisbeck again to serve, and that one into the net. We should note, Natalie, right now of the 6 players on the floor, only 1 was on the roster last season. Again, just a sign of the times for the Crimson Tide.
Great point, yes. Kaylee Thomas is the only returning player, and she is a senior leader for the Tide. But yes, every other player is brand new to the Crimson Tide.
That'll change. Well, it won't, as Carter will come in for Thomas. We talked about the rust factor. The only place I'm really seeing it often, Natalie, is in the service errors. We've already had 6 combined in this match.
And it's a little different when you're playing against somebody, you're serving against somebody that you haven't seen before. And right now, I'm sure the coaches are just saying, get the ball in play.
Sauer kept alive. Here's Doris Carter. DeBerg right in there. Point Missouri.
Coming in on that pipe, but just coming in that back court, hitting it up in the middle. Great placement by Fuentes to get her a lot of angle room, and that was right on the line. Beautiful shot by DeBerg.
Second team All-American last year, All-SEC the last 2 seasons, on the preseason team this year. The accolades keep rolling in for the Illinois transfer. Here is McElroy. Now a chance for Carter. And that one finds its way down, 15-11.
The interesting part about this is that both teams are still trying to figure each other out. They haven't seen anybody play because nobody's played before this match, so they're still getting a sense of hitters. But what you're also seeing is the different skill sets of all the hitters. They're throwing different cadences. High hands, deep court, down the line. It's going to take a lot of adjustment.
There is another mistake on a serve, that time by the graduate student Madeline St. Germain, transfer out of UT Arlington. Just again adding to the service mishaps here in the first set.
Alabama with 4 and Mizzou have 3.
Chance for Carter, and that one down, 16-12.
Carter loves that deep shot and took advantage of Omazik coming in for that serve. It's a little bit difficult to get over there and shift over there and play defense right away. And you can tell that Devine said, shove it that way, push it that way, because she was just coming in on defense.
McElroy will serve. And that one finds its way in. Beautiful by the sophomore. And Bama down 3.
Great, that had a little heat to it. It was a nice top spin jump serve that just kissed that line right on that backcourt. As players passing, DeBerg and Brown need to communicate and figure out where that ball is coming.
See where McElroy goes here. And DeBerg can't direct it properly. 2-point first set now.
We saw member Monet do a little jump serve, but I'm pretty sure they have not seen a high top spin.
And DeBerg, again, can't direct it properly. Bama down 1 here in set number 1.
And when you get a server like that who's on a roll, even at timeout, you know Coach Taylor wanted to get his passers regrouped. He's already shifting the passing look. He's pushed DeBerg up, trying to give McElroy a different look on the service line.
Another chance for, and that one sails a bit too far wide. Missouri back up by 2.
Aces over errors. She rattled off a few great points. Great series there by McElroy. She was pinging after that backcourt. So you'll take a serve out of bounds every now and then.
Yeah, Missouri looked like they were in control of this first set, but Alabama behind the service of McElroy fought back to down 1. They're now down 2. Fuentes will try and respond. And Alabama couldn't handle that one. 18-15.
That movement, Fuentes had a really good float. We have a great shot of it up here, and it just had a lot of movement. Got to keep those arms still, keep that platform solid to get this pass up to their setter.
Chance for Wells, and that one was tipped. Bama down 2.
Started with a great 3-option pass, so Fisbeck could set anybody she wanted to, and it was a great high hands off that Aaliyah Wells just going down that line.
Alabama turns to the senior, Kaylee Thomas. She'll serve with the Tide down by 2. Really nice serve. Chance for Dixon. Ray. Wow, beautiful touch by Member Monet. Just found the perfect spot.
She's doing a great job. It looks like she's becoming a role player in that backcourt. Great pass, great option. She's another lethal threat. We've seen what she can do on the kill line for Mizzou when she played here last year against Alabama, and just nice controlled back pipe shot there.
Good serve by DeBerg. Here's Wells, and that one out of bounds. 19-17, Missouri leads now.
Taking advantage of Cruz and Sauer shifting over to find her with a lot of movement. She loves that back 1-foot takeoff, and it was a great movement and great option for Aaliyah Wells to hit down the line.
And here is Wells to serve. And Missouri, again, just kind of out of sorts right there. Bama back down 1.
It's a tight pass, really hard to get control. Fuentes did everything she could to stay out of the net and get those 2 hands up there, and unfortunately it was a double contact.
Dixon. And that one out. Missouri back up by 2, 20-18.
Great respect for Fuentes to go back to where that play was supposed to go in that previous round. She was 5-time SEC setter of the week, just finding her hitters and playing that offense. Smart decision by Fuentes.
Yeah, Missouri not letting Alabama tie this first set up. Here's Ray. Sauer. Ray again. What an eventful first set for Kendall Ray. As that one sails out, 20-19.
Great decision by the block to really make Dixon shove that ball over in that deep court. You have Nealon who's defending back there, but it was a great decision to show that deep cross court against Dixon.
Alabama's gotten it to a 1-point deficit multiple times the last couple minutes, but hasn't been able to draw even. And that won't help as Fisbeck fires it into the net. Missouri back up by 2.
Serving jitters, and we've said it a few times, those first couple matches, just trying to, this is their home court, and Alabama just trying to find that great serve. Sometimes you're going after those positions. Sometimes you just need to get the ball in the net, in the court.
6th service error, as you see right there on our graphic. Chance for McElroy, the lefty. And that one out. Missouri up 22-19.
Tigers.
She was at a WWE match when she got the call from her head coach as she was a second-team All-American last season. Couldn't hear the news, had to step out for a minute.
I love it.
And she has looked good so far. 4 kills already. Missouri up by 3. Here's Ray. And that one down, 22-20.
Fisbeck just has so many different options. She's throwing it out to Ray in the backside. She has Campbell. You haven't seen a lot of balls to that middle, but her outside pin hitters are doing a great job terminating that ball.
Now Ray to serve. Pretty nicely placed by the freshman, and once again, Alabama down by 1 here in the first set.
That's one of her very first what I call a zero option pass where she got aced. The rest of them, she's been passing nails with 3-point options, giving her setter a lot of options to set her offense.
See if Missouri can respond again with it being so tight here in the first set. Chance for Omazic, and that one out. Point Missouri, 23-21.
And I liked it. Brown getting ace that previous play, freshman, going back, passing a 3-option pass so Fuentes could get Omazic out on side of that pin, and Omazic just really doing a great job putting that ball away.
It will be Member Monet to serve. She was 7th in the conference last year in service aces. Over to McElroy, and that one is blocked, and Missouri has a set point.
And what I heard DeBerg was communicating is wait, because she knew that there was going to be a high set and just getting those high hands, very tall block out there with Omazic and DeBerg.
Member Monet, and that one just missed. 24-22, set point though once again for Missouri.
Gray, what I loved is Doris Carter getting that foot on the line and making sure that that ball was out. A little bit more discipline that we've seen from this Alabama passing game this year.
St. Germain will try and keep the Crimson Tide alive, and that will not help. That one long, and Missouri takes set number.
To both coaches, and they repeated it multiple times, just how energetic and exciting it is just to put on that uniform, hear those whistles, play against somebody besides the practice squad, and just really put it all out there.
Set 2 ready to begin, and it will be Emily Brown, the freshman, to start it off for Missouri. And that one wide by Omazic. Point Crimson Tide to start off set 2.
Great job by Wells, just keying in on the middle of Omazic and just seeing where she is and making her go one way or the other, and just too far outside across her body.
We referenced in the open the 5-setter between these two the last time Alabama and Missouri met in this building. Missouri won the first set that night, but Alabama won sets 2 and 3 before Missouri came back, as McElroy fires in another beautiful serve, and Alabama's up 2-zip.
I love her serve. It's just so aggressive, and it's solid, and it gives the passers a different look to pass.
See what she does here. Missouri keeps this one in play, and that one down for Omazic. Missouri's on the board here in set 2.
She wanted an end to that. Great quick pass tempo from Fuentes in that middle, and that cut right shot. Beautiful timing and cadence between those two.
We were talking a bit during the break, but just really nice to see the competitiveness and really a pretty sharp beginning to this match between these two teams as Missouri blocks it over to tie it up.
And Omazic, we talked a little bit about her, but we focused a little bit more on DeBerg, but she had 11 kills against Alabama their last outing, and had a .386 hitting percentage. She comes with a lot of versatility, both in her blocking game and her hitting game.
Yeah, she was all SEC a year ago as well. Here's Wells, and that one just missed. Point Missouri.
It was a nice little roll shot. It was hard to tell up here if it was touching that line. The set was a little high, little out of system for Alabama.
Coach Devine okay with it though, and Missouri's got the lead. Good serve by Aaron Williamson. Here's Doris Carter, and that one blocked down. Missouri with 4 straight.
Somebody with such a strong arm going in hard, she's going to hit when she wants to hit. That solid block by Omazic and Fuentes, just setting it up really well.
Impressive run by Missouri to answer right here. Ray. Chance to build on the lead. There's DeBerg, and that one's down. 5-2 Tigers.
She's taking off right behind the 10-foot line, but she's landing about the 2-foot line. She is such an incredible vertical. She is the 3rd hitter for Mizzou.
Impressive run by Williamson serving for the Tigers. Doris Carter And that one ends the run, 5-3.
Smart move, senior, little bit of maturity. You go up and you bang and you try and hit it so hard through that block. Sometimes you got to take it a little bit off and use that block for a tool. Great score by Carter coming back from a couple bad hits.
4th kill of the night for Carter, who heads over to where the team is standing. Players not sitting this season. As Thomas serves it in. Sauer. That one blocked, and Alabama can't get to it. Missouri back up by 3.
And that was such a tight play. Wells and Fistback just need to go up and go get it. Beat Sauer to that ball. Smart play by Sauer, just going up and just trying to take a little tempo off, turning that thumb down, moving that ball to the inside of the block.
Remember Monet coming in to get some service work. Chance here for Ray. And that one out, point Alabama.
Just a lot of errors for the Crimson Tide. Missouri coming out of that break between first set and second set and just playing some clean volleyball, bettering that ball on their side.
Wells to serve. Over to DeBerg, and that one blocked and just out, they'll say. 7-4 Missouri.
Fistback, the taller of the two setters on the court between Nealon and Fistback, and it just is unfortunate. She just has to turn that hand, that right hand in to get that ball back inside the line.
A couple close calls over on that side. Good serve by Missouri. Thomas does all she can to get it over. And that one pushed out by the Tigers, point Alabama.
And that was smart by DeCruz, just going after that we call zone 4, right behind the net on that left side. All of the players for Alabama were shifted over on that other court, and if she just would have taken a little bit off tempo on that tip, it would have scored.
Yeah, you're right, DeCruz just missed. Fistback. McElroy. Point Alabama, back down 1 here in set number 2.
For those a little bit rusty in the ball handling, the libero cannot overhand set or take that ball, and you have Fuentes in the middle for Mizzou, so they're completely out of alignment, but great cutoff set by St. Germain, giving a great playable ball for McElroy.
Well, there's another service error for the Crimson Tide. That's number 8 in the match, and I feel like most of them have come when Alabama's been down 1. Andrea Fuentes, all SEC last year. Ray. Chance for Wells. Missouri keeps it alive. DeBerg will try and end it. And that one was touched by the Tide. 9-6 Missouri.
Seeing a little fire from DeBerg because she knows she got that touch. And that down ref even was trying to see if there was a touch. Sometimes you know, when you're up there and you're hitting, you see the ball change direction, you know what happened with that ball, and she was right. Point for Missouri.
Fuentes again. Another nice serve. Here's Ray. Block but out. Missouri was in control right there, but just couldn't corral that one. 9-7.
A little luck there sometimes goes a long way. You're coming in out of system, bringing that ball back in that middle court. Great play by Ray, just trying to make something happen. Nice score by the freshman.
She has looked really impressive so far. There's a good serve. Missouri can't get it over. 9-8.
Passing, fundamentals, and volleyball, no matter if it's the first part of the season or you're in the national championship game, sometimes you can get rattled, and it's just going back to that basics. Getting that nice platform, getting that solid ball to your setter.
Again, Alabama down 1. Ray. Wow, a service error with the Tide down 1. Again, 10-8 Missouri.
just serving a little tight. It's like in basketball, shooting a free throw. I've said it many times, just taking that deep breath and just getting that first one in and then going after it, that second ball.
DeBerg. And nothing Alabama could do there. That's an All-American serve right there. 11-8 Tigers.
St. Germain moving with her platform outside of her body so she doesn't have control on what we call her midline, getting that ball there because she's literally running while passing. You can't really do that with that top spin that DeBerg has.
Alabama has gotten it to within one multiple times late in the first set. A couple times here in the second set, but just have not been able to get over the hump.
And you're seeing something new. It is up to the players. They have to wipe their own space on their court. There's a lot of different nuances to the pandemic world of volleyball.
Yeah, we are socially distanced from the court tonight. Chance for McElroy, and that one blocked out, 11-9.
Started with a great pass, nice regroup by the Alabama passers. Great run by DeBerg. But look at this replay. Solid pass from Carter going to Fisbeck, and McElroy using that left-handed option, that's her strong side, down that line.
Missouri will look to answer back. Sauer. Wells. And that one down from Dixon, the sophomore. Missouri back up by 3.
Gray, that was so pretty. Fuentes just a nice little low-level flat set in that backcourt, almost like a 3.5 for Dixon. It made that block have to react very quickly and hitting it right down the line.
Here's Brown, the freshman, who served well tonight. Chance for Doris Carter. Sauer, and a beautiful little touch. Missouri up by 4.
With the smile to prove it, she knew it. She absolutely knew it. She went up strong. She showed a hard hand down the line, and she tipped it right behind the block because she knew the defense was pushed back. Smart shot by Sauer. Sophomore from Iowa. She's majoring in speech and language pathology. She was the 2018 Under Armour second team All-American.
Yeah, just started in one match a year ago, but getting to start here in the season opener.
Showing a lot of versatility in her shot selection, mixing it up from hard cross, tipping.
And her teammates trust her. They've gone to her often here early. McElroy, beautiful, 13-10.
I like beautiful snap right on top of that ball and that deep cross. Again, when you're on the right side and you're left-handed, that is your strong. You have enough time and you're seeing that ball hit in your hand and you have the whole court in front of you. And
the sophomore will serve yet again. That one goes right into the net.
You can see a little bit. You have Molly Kreklow, who is a great coach by every right. Now Molly Taylor, and some of that piece that Missouri is so known for is just going up there and being a good, solid setter, and then tipping it over as being an offensive threat.
And a service error there by Missouri, and tied back down 4.
Minimizing errors, just trying to get back into that rhythm and making that other team play. Missouri showing some great moments of being in that moment that Coach Taylor wanted his squad to do.
Here's Wells. Remember Benet, beautiful touch. And it's 17-12.
Ooh, I would have called a back row attack. She was jumping, her left foot was right in front of that 10-foot line. I think she might have gotten away with one. But still great score nonetheless.
Omazic. That one way out, 17-13. Fisbeck will come back in. McElroy will as well as Nealon and Marjama head out. It was about this stage in the first set where Alabama was down 4 or 5 points. They were able to cut it to 1. Couldn't get over the hump. Here's Fisbeck in set 2. DeBerg, and that one rifled in. 18-13.
We're seeing Alabama trying to get DeBerg thinking pass first, hit second. And sometimes that works, and she has struggled a little bit in passing, but she just passed a perfect 3 option. It was like a gift to herself going there on the outside.
8th kill of the night for DeBerg. Hitting .778. Fuentes. And Ray has it deflect off Brown for a point for the Crimson Tide.
Giving freshman Brown a little hello, welcome to the SEC right in the face. She protected herself very well, but it was a great deep line shot by Ray. I have to give it to Brown. She doesn't even show any sign of a rookie player. She's very solid, very poised. She's doing a great job for the Tigers.
Freshman to freshman right there on that serve. Here's Dixon, the sophomore, into the net. Point Crimson Tide.
Alabama getting a little lucky of out-of-system balls and just having a hard time. The Tigers are having a hard time taking care of that ball and putting that ball away when it's off the net and not in system.
That one sails long yet again for the Tide. That is service error number 11 for Alabama.
Sometimes when you have a younger player and 6th rotation player, she has to go in there and serve. It sometimes takes away from that momentum, and Ray's just going to have to figure out how to get that ball in play when she's back there on the service line.
Campbell. That one kept alive. Carter. Beautiful little touch, but Missouri keeps it in play. Now McElroy, and that one down. What a point by Missouri.
DeCruz and Sauer just camping in on McElroy, knowing where it's going. That was their first ball in system. There's a lot of out-of-system plays. McElroy just needs to find a way to stay behind that set, give herself a chance to see that block. She was so tight in. She was so focused on that ball. She didn't even see DeCruz go over there and block.
Missouri back up by 5 now. Kind of a strange year here in 2020. It's been that way everywhere, but the volleyball season will look very different from years past, Natalie. We've got some matches here in the fall, then at least 12 matches scheduled for the spring before the NCAA tournament here in the SEC.
It's kind of like a reverse. You know, you used to have a spring season, training season, and then you play and gear up in the fall, but this is a little bit different. But like we said multiple times, all the coaches in the SEC are just so excited to be on the court and have that option to play, because they feel like it's a great...
Talked about COVID as another opponent on the schedule. Said every negative result is a set win as we're back to the action. Chance for Sauer. Doris Carter. Can't seem to find a spot right now. Good effort by Ray. Carter. And that one finds its way down. Missouri keeps on attacking, and now they lead by 6.
Sawyer's getting all of what we call the garbage plays, out-assisted balls, getting them up there, and she is finding a way to score. The Tigers just stay true and figured out a way, just get that ball better, and that execution by Sauer, just so impressive by that young lady.
Here's McElroy, and that one long. But it was tipped, so a point for Alabama, back down 5.
Showing a tip off the block for McElroy. You're seeing a little bit of playing to win and not playing not to lose on both sides, and McElroy just needs to find a way to get back into that rhythm and that groove on that right side pin.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful by McElroy right there, just like you were saying.
Sometimes it comes back with defense. You know, sometimes your offensive game goes into a rut. You got to figure out a way how to block and make a defensive play. Great return response by McElroy, getting out there and using her hands.
St. Germain, the service. Cruz had it blocked. Dixon, and that one down. Missouri up 5.
Great response by DeCruz and Brown. A lot of balls have been going outside the outside pin. They haven't gotten a lot here on the right side. Taking advantage, putting that ball away.
The freshman, Emily Brown. Carter, and that one long. And Missouri closing in on a set 2 victory.
What I would recommend to Carter is just giving yourself another step, another tempo, maybe mix it up, maybe come in and run a 2, just finding a different way, because right now pinging against Dixon and Omazik is not working out for her on the pin.
Oh, that's beautiful. Aaliyah Wells, delicately over the net.
Textbook, beautiful play. All middles across the country are singing her praises. You go up strong, you show that quick middle, you're going one-on-one, knowing that that defense is camped out back. Great execution with that nice little tip right behind the block.
6 kills for Wells. Nealon. And a beautiful block by guess who? Wells, and Alabama down 4.
We have not said her name a lot this game, this match, and she's doing a great job. That's that fire. You can't really see it on her mouth expression because she's wearing her mask, but she is a great spark plug for Alabama. She can keep this momentum going.
And I say, of course, she was 5th in the SEC last year in blocks. But a service error comes back and haunts Alabama yet again, and now Missouri has set point.
From a senior, nonetheless, it's not something that Coach Devine wants to see from her leaders. She needs that service to occur so she can have her team run their offense.
Williamson will try and end it. Carter. Omazik, Alabama just trying to keep it alive. Omazik again, blocked. Sauer. Carter, oh, the touch, but Missouri was there. Wells. Carter, kept alive. And DeBerg finishes it off for set number 2.
With an exclamation point, great hustle, great all-out offense. Both coaches are looking for a break because that was probably the hardest intensive game-like situation, and it's the first time here on this court.
What a match so far. Missouri up 2 sets to none. They'll try and end it together in the preseason poll at 6 and 7.
And Mendoza at South Carolina is really doing a great job building that strength. And Georgia lost a lot of players, and Coach Black is rebuilding a lot of that institution and just showing that the SEC is here to stay. They're showing their strength and they're showing their power across all the teams.
3rd set ready to go here in Tuscaloosa, and immediately a service error to begin. Missouri takes the early lead.
As a player and as a coach, that just makes every fiber of my being. you have the cardinal sins of serving. It's the first serve. It's the game point, match point. It's when your teammate misses a serve and out of a timeout, you just have to get that first one in.
Chance for Carter. Somehow the Tigers keep it going. And Campbell, a little miscommunication there. Now Sauer. Campbell blocked. Carter. Carter again. Sauer. McElroy. Down and in, and we're tied here in set number 3.
Finding a way. You can tell there's the little bit immaturity of Campbell just trying to get her feet and her momentum. Big shoes to fill with Haley McSparron graduating last year, and you have Wells stepping up because Campbell has to draw the block to open that up for McElroy, and it didn't happen until at the very end.
St. Germain, nice serve. Carter. Looking to end a bit of a cold streak on her attacks. She'll get another chance. Blocked. And Ray into the net. What beautiful defense by Missouri.
And great cover by Carter on her own ball, but you're right. The defense on Missouri is just starting to get in the heads of the Alabama hitters. They're getting ways to get good touches, get playable balls when you think the play is dead, and it's starting to impact the mentality of the Alabama hitters.
Carter just 4 kills and 25 total attacks so far tonight. Remember, Monet to serve. Chance for Carter. McElroy. DeBerg. Kept alive by Ray. Here's Carter. And that one finds its way down, and Carter ends a cold streak, and we're tied here in set 3.
You mentioned attempts. As an outside hitter, you're going to get a lot of attempts because all out-of-system balls are most likely coming to you or that deep right side. And Carter just trying to find a way to make something happen. But I tell you what, if I am Alabama, I'm telling my middles to go up strong and hit tip zone 4. Go up strong and tip right behind the block. There is no one there for the Tigers.
Nealon to serve. Omazic, that is wide, point Alabama, and they've got the lead here in set 3.
Great discipline by St. Germain, making sure she's getting on that line and making sure that Omazic has to push that ball back into the court.
We've seen the Tide come close, but now they're finally over the hump here in set number 3. Nealon. Oh, that was beautiful. Missouri. And now Alabama somehow gets it over. And that one down by Omazic, a frantic point to start, but then Omazic finishes it off.
Great layout and hustle. It was a lot of quick tempo. You had a save there, and then you have St. Germain just really laying it out there, but give it to Omazic just finding a way to put an exclamation point and put that ball away.
Now she will serve. Carter. Down, point Tide.
With authority, just really going up and just showing that strong, almost like she wanted to hit line and going that hard cross right into that middle, taking advantage of a little bit shorter block. She's going against Fuentes. And now you see Carter out and Ray in that front row. Huge height mismatch.
That one just creeps over. DeBerg hasn't found one down here in set 3 quite yet. Another chance. Member Benet kept alive. Ray, that one down, Alabama up by 2.
And you saw Fishback go after that zone 4, and you have Brown going over there, covering left back behind DeBerg. She just needs to tip a little bit shorter, but great execution by Ray. Kicking that ball out by Fishback. Awesome offense by Alabama.
And a point for the Crimson Tide as Missouri was all out of sorts right there.
Remember, Monet she's just trying to get that ball in. It's just a little bit outside that pin. Give it to Alabama. They're really starting to show a little bit of fight and fire here. Great little break for the Crimson Tide.
Good serving by Thomas as well. Over to DeBerg. And that one down.
DeBerg saying, nope, not yet. You're not going to get a couple points off of me. Just showing up there. Great, beautiful hang time. Nice set by Fuentes, getting her out to that pin, hitting up and over Wells and Fishback.
I mean, she really is the eraser. If Missouri needs a point, just go to DeBerg, and it so far tonight has worked more often than he hasn't. Ray, and was short on the tip. Tigers down 1.
Fishback just looking for someone on her team to put the ball away. It needs to have a good pass. You have Wells in there just running that pass. You have Ray back there to pass, saying that she can pass. But Missouri is just really doing a great job getting her head to not be thinking hitting first.
Wells. And a point for Alabama. As Missouri was all up on the net, Alabama up 7-5.
Called a double on Fuentes. Wells just finding a way to put that ball over. Very athletic move there. Coach Devine mentioned it's just really nice to have Wells 100% healthy. She had to be out most of her senior year, and just she's strong, she's healthy. She's done a lot of great things in that off season. She nursed a leg injury, soreness last year, coming back really strong, doing great things today.
SEC All-Freshman team member a season ago. As we see Taylor drap for the first time. And that one from Dixon is blocked out. Missouri back down 1.
Campbell needs to just take that quick first step, that strong first step to that right and get close to Fishback. Fishback, she's going isolation a lot, and she needs some help coming from the middle blockers for Alabama.
Ray. That one barely kept over by Ray. Now Sauer. That one wide, and a point for the Tide.
They stayed with it. Alabama stayed with it. Missouri, just if they can take a quick breath. Fuentes getting a ball up, trying to find her players to hit this ball. Right now, DeBerg's in the back row. You have Dixon, and you have DeCruz, and you have Sauer on the outside. Fuentes needs somebody else to step up besides DeBerg.
Here is Fisbeck. Dixon, and that one deflected out. Missouri not letting Alabama get a bigger lead as the Tigers have cut it to 1 once again.
Great hit by Brown. Goes back to discipline. You can see Thomas trying to give Campbell a little pep talk. They need Campbell to get there and close to that pin. That's the hardest part about blocking. You got to block first.
Ray. Ray again. And the delicate little tip gives Alabama another 2-point lead.
There's that corner tip we were just talking about, just trying to mix it up. You can go and swing hard as much as you want, but you have to keep the defense honest. If they're back there camping and ready to get a good ball, you got to mix it up, and that was a great shot by Ray.
8th kill for Ray. That leads Alabama. She will serve now. Sauer. Over to Dixon, and that one just wide, and Alabama with their largest lead of the match so far.
Great setup by Carter, and Campbell trying to close. You know, we're talking a lot about these young, fresh players. Campbell's just a freshman. She has been playing not very long. She's 2020. She qualified in the Junior Olympics, and she placed 9th in the shot put in high school. You can tell she's learning. This is a completely different game than when you're playing in high school.
Missouri trying to answer back. That'll work as Sauer, the sophomore, drops it in.
If I'm the coaches for Alabama, I'm saying keep your hands up high and keep them up there. They're dropping them because they're trying to take off and get ready to hit, and that's so hard when you're playing in a third set against such a quality team like Missouri, who's just mixing up this offense from pin to pin.
You see the 9 right there. The Tigers a top 10 team as Williamson gives Alabama a free point.
Coach Taylor cannot be pleased. He talked to us about, I asked him what 3 words describe his team. He said disciplined, fiery, and great teammates, and he really needs to count on his veteran players to be disciplined.
Disciplined right there, letting that one go out. We saw the fiery side of Missouri in sets 1 and 2 right around the midpoint, where they were just able to go on runs to really put Alabama out of reach. They would just gain these 4 or 5 point leads. Right around this time, we'll see if Member Monet can get it started here. That'll work. Omazic into the court, 11-10.
With a gift. Overpass, that's every middle and front row player just waiting for that perfect ball, setting it up by that great serve by Member Monet. Great rip by Omazic.
But a service error there as Alabama once again gets a gift, back up by 2.
See if Alabama capitalizes on this. You have Nealon, Under Armour All-American from New York, just back there on the service line. No stranger to pressure situation. She ran the offense in a modified 5-2, 6-2, depending on part of the season last year.
That's a pretty good serve right there. Chance though for DeBerg. Over to Carter. And that one down, point Crimson Tide.
And I love the energy from the crowd. You could hear it because they're all in it, and there was a suspicion if that ball, the blocker was over on that play, but give it to Alabama just showing such poise and finish. Carter just going right at Omazic, just really right in between her hands and powered that ball through.
It felt like a big momentum point here in this third set. Over to DeBerg. And she erased the run, 13-11.
Gosh, it's got to be so nice. Fuentes just going up there and just laying it out there beautifully on that pin. And you're right, DeBerg just executing so very well.
11 kills for DeBerg. She's hitting .588 tonight. Ray. Guess who? And Alabama can't keep it alive. Missouri now down 1.
Turning into the DeBerg show, it was Dixon and Sauer, and now DeBerg just really showing her strength. And we talked about a little bit of balanced offense to help elevate DeBerg. And when you have other hitters starting to hit, guess what? The block is focusing on them, and then they forget about DeBerg.
Omazic. Wells, that one ends the DeBerg run, and the Tide back up by 2.
There's that fire you want to see from a quality returning player, just showing her strength. She's every bit of a solid hitter as she is a blocker. Great athleticism and great hang time, pushing that ball in that deep court.
DeBerg kept alive. Ray. And DeBerg yet again. Boy, is she good.
Just slam dunking that ball on that 10-foot line. As a defender, it's got to be so incredibly hard. You're going up there and you're getting your feet stance and you're making your movements. Ball stopped on contact. She goes up and rips it, and then, oh, just kidding. She goes up there and tips it. Wonderful player.
Fuentes to serve. And that one sails. Another service error, but Missouri now making them here in set number 3.
Dixon, solid player performance going on right now. She already has 7 kills. That's now her 8th. Just a strong presence, doing a great job holding the block to allow for other players to get great, clear, open shots.
DeBerg to serve, and she fires it right into the net as Alabama, I think the last 3 times it's been a 1-point third set, Missouri's fired a service error into the net.
But you don't see any, she's like going to shrug it off because she's going to get a good pass. Just a solid, stoic player. Whereas on the other side, you have Thomas and St. Germain just really trying to bring up the energy on their half of the court.
Fistback. Dixon. Chance for Alabama. Ray. Dixon. McElroy, that one down, and McElroy makes her first real appearance here in set number 3 with a big-time kill.
With a phenomenal layout by St. Germain, just laying her body out, shoulders low, get that good pass so McElroy can put that ball down. You're seeing a little bit of that fire on the Crimson Tide side.
Chance for Dixon. Dixon again. McElroy. Oh, the touch this time, and Alabama has its largest lead of the third set and of the match.
Right behind the block. We were just talking about it in this set. It is open. You go up there and swing and bang hard, and then you have that great tip right behind the block.
And now timeout called with the Tide up by 4. Well, Saturday we'll have another college football doubleheader right here on the SEC Network. Auburn will be in Oxford squaring off against Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. Then Kentucky travels to Columbia to take on the Missouri Tigers. Both games are also streaming live on the ESPN app. That coming up on Saturday. And here tonight, it has been the DeBerg Show. She's got 13 kills for Missouri out of 20 total attacks. She's been dynamic, Natalie.
For the young aspiring volleyball players, watch what she does on off ball. When she is not touching the ball, she's making herself a threat. She is available all the time for her setter, and she's communicating back with her setter. Whether it's in the front row or the back row, she's executing beautifully. And she's giving credit where credit's due. She gives it right back to that setter. But what I love is when it's a pass, maybe she's got a bad pass or a bad serve. That next play, she's in it. She's ready to go, and it's building that momentum and that trust factor for her teammates because they're looking to her not only as a senior leader, but as a dominant player on the court.
And with Alabama leading by 4 here in set number 3, I think everybody can guess where this ball is probably going to go for the Tigers. Fisbeck to serve. Largest lead of the night for the Crimson Tide. A tight first set. Missouri was able to pull away in set number 2, but the Crimson Tide fighting back here in 3. This one over to Dixon. McElroy. And that one down, and Alabama up 5.
Giving some fits out there on that right side pin. Started with a great serve and then a great pass. Alabama doing great things out of that break. Again, you have 3 fresh faces in the front row for Alabama, 2 freshmen and a sophomore, all new to the program in Alabama.
Another good serve by Fisbeck. McElroy. Again, why not? As the Crimson Tide now leads by 6.
And Divine said it multiple times in our call with her earlier this week is she's going to give a lot of fits because she's got a lot of skill sets. When you think she's going to go up and hit line, she cuts it cross. She mixes things up while she's in midair.
All of a sudden leads Alabama in kills tonight with 9. And another good serve by Fisbeck. Ray, that one down, and Alabama's got all the momentum up by 7 here in set 3.
When you're going so many times that right side, defense is expecting the ball to McElroy. Great step up by Ray to put that ball away. That's exactly what Divine wants to see from her offense, splitting it up.
Another timeout called as the Crimson Tide takes a 7-point lead here in set number 3. Well, our critically acclaimed series True South returns for its 3rd season tomorrow at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, with John T. Edge traveling around Oxford, Mississippi, exploring eateries, meeting the locals, learning about the culture, and, of course, the history of the South. Basically, getting to know good people through food. You can see it right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Well, McElroy has been dynamic. We mentioned now leading Alabama in kills with 9, and a lot of those have come on the last 3 points, Natalie.
She's proven every bit of truth of what Coach Divine mentioned to us about her. She is so strong. She goes up there with such power, and you know what? She had a little bit of a rough second set, but her strength and her perseverance here in this 3rd set is showing what type of player she is capable of being. She's a brand new face for the SEC, and the SEC needs to look out for her.
Yeah, Coach Divine called her the spark, and she has been that here in set number 3, as Alabama has put some distance between themselves and the visiting Tigers.
And it's sophomore against sophomore on that outside pin, and Sauer's just going to have to find a way to shut McElroy down.
Fisbeck has served well, too, in the last little run. Dixon, that one blocked, but out, and a point for Missouri to end it.
Turning those hands in, that's like the hardest thing. And if you ask a lot of volleyball players on the outside, so many broken pinkies just learning how to push that ball in. Ray's just a freshman, and she's showing some great promise. But that goes back to that fundamentals of blocking.
Another chance for Ray. That one into the crowd, and Alabama back up by 7.
Uncustomarily interesting, bad timing error for DeBerg. Just trying to get back into system. 6th rotation player. They're picking on her.
Here's Ray. Sauer. And that one tipped out. 22-16 now, Alabama leads.
I was just going to say, look for Mizzou to mix up some of their passing. They're rotating Dixon out, and you have Williams in, and they got that point, but they're having a hard time on that pass. Start to see some 2-option passing, some mixing it up for the Tigers.
Here's McElroy, and that one right off of DeBerg, and Alabama back up by 7 as McElroy again continues her hot streak.
And you're seeing that look of confusion. It's the responsibility of that outside pin hitter to set up that block and move it over, and Omazeke's like trying to talk, is it going in between us, is it going around us? And that is where that level of maturity needs to occur to set that block up a little bit tighter inside.
Nifty play by Fuentes is read by Alabama. McElroy again, why not? And that one was tipped by DeBerg, and Alabama's got set point.
This is where you have some youth back there in the libero position. As a libero, you probably want to talk to your blockers. Brown needs to talk to Omazik and Sauer and say, move it over. McElroy's hitting right in between that seam.
St. Germain will try and end it. DeBerg, and that one out. The eraser strikes, and Missouri stays alive here in set 3.
Give it to DeBerg. She had a little bit of a struggle. She's gotten picked on defense. Coming back, and like you said, she erased that entire point.
14th kill. Been a while since we've seen DeBerg add to her total. Member Monet. McElroy, and that one blocked but out. And set number 3 goes to the Crimson Tide, 25-17. We will play 4 here in Tuscaloosa.
A completely different look towards the end of that set. Such great energy and fire, and give it to McElroy just to front court. But now, establishing the block, they did great in that first set, but it really struggled in that mid-second set, and they need to pick up that momentum here now in this 4th.
Yeah, I would say the key to this 4th set, establish the lead early on. We've seen whoever can get on top early has really rolled their way through the first 3 sets. And Missouri will start it off serving with Emily Brown, the freshman. And immediately, it's Anna Dixon right into the ground, 1-0 Missouri.
That's a nice little start coming out of break when you have a little bit of a falter in that 3rd set. Only a 1-option pass from Carter. They're going to pick on her. You're going to see Brown shove it right back over there on that side of the court.
You're exactly right, and it's working out for Missouri. 2-zip early on here in set 4.
Divine's telling her team just settle down because they know that they're going to keep picking on Carter when she is on fire. It's because she's passing very well and she's in that system.
Better look there. Here's Carter, blocked. And a point for Missouri after the violation.
It's unfortunate. She had a pretty good pass, and then that ball, and it looks like Divine wants to challenge. See if there was a touch rather than just an error. And that is the challenge call. They're going to challenge if there was a touch.
First challenge of the 2020 season for these two, or between these two, I should say.
And it's a little different for us. Usually we're down there on the court and we can hear all the commentary and exactly what's happening. But the same rules apply. Those have not changed since last year. We've seen matches won on a challenge,
right,
actually a couple times.
So as the replay booth takes a look, Missouri getting off to a nice start here in set number 4. Really a good response from Coach Taylor's team as we take a look at the play.
So Carter went up and she hit it. It definitely hit tape. We're going to see if there was another touch. Nice slow-mo by the crew. It hit an arm, but it looks like the call stands.
Yep, point Missouri, and the Tigers have a 3-0 lead to begin set number 4. As Coach Devine gets the explanation that I'm sure she was not hoping to hear right there.
But at the same time, it's not a loss. She got a chance to stop tempo of the game. Her team's had a hard time getting a pass. They've been picking on Carter. It was a great time to just regroup.
See if Brown goes right back to Carter. She will. McElroy, touch yet again, and Alabama's on the board.
That's that zone 4 we were talking about earlier in that last set. Go up strong and tip it right behind the block. Great call by the coaching staff.
Really, what an impressive effort by McElroy overall tonight, but just in the last 15 minutes or so. Dixon will try and answer.
Looks like they're calling a replay.
I think perhaps an inadvertent whistle there.
It's everybody's first match. It happens.
We're all shaking off the rust, so we'll just do it again. 3-1 Missouri, and St. Germain will serve. Dixon, that one long, and Alabama gets a little closer here in set 4.
The energy in this gym has been really great. And yes, it's minimal occupation for the audience, but you can feel the energy from the players. And it has to be a little tough as a player. You know, you're used to having all your friends and family come and cheer you on. The band's usually playing, but give it to these teams. They're still playing hard and they're playing with a lot of fight despite the interesting audience.
Dixon will take a rest. Here comes Williamson, who has served nicely for Missouri, the redshirt sophomore out of Atlanta, Georgia. Arizona transfer. Skipped off the net. Wells. Carter. McElroy, that one is deflected out, and Alabama back down 1.
And she had so much time. It was a great high back ball. That is something that you're going to see a lot of. Divine, we talked to her a little bit about the offense. She goes, I just want consistency, no tricks, no cross plays yet. We're just trying to get the basics. And that was a wonderful high outside ball, and McElroy putting it away.
Alabama has not let Missouri expand upon that lead here in set 4, and now Wells fires it down to tie it up.
And there's that energy. We've seen it so many times before. Freshman all SEC team and just going up there with authority. And that overpass straight down only against Fuentes.
Good serve yet again by Nealon. Sauer tipped up and no one could get there. Missouri back in front.
And Divine is so calm, and in my inner gut is saying, turn and cover, turn and cover. And we've talked to her a little bit about that. She said she really expects her backcourt to really cover because she knows she's got a lot of hard, heavy-armed hitters. She needs her backcourt to really cover that front row.
Member Monet has been a key server for the Tigers tonight. Carter. Here's DeBerg. Kept alive. Wells. That one, a beautiful block by the Tigers to go up by 2.
And it was a little high. That was a high, big, lofty outside set. So DeBerg and Omazik had a long time to get out there to cover and close. Take a look at the height on that. If it was just set a little bit inside, they probably would have gotten Omazik out of that blocking rotation.
Oh, right in there by Member Monet. That one hit the back right corner, 7-4.
Just kissed that line.
You could not position that one any better. Senior out of St. Louis. Third ace of the night for the Tigers. Here's DeBerg. Now Wells. And that one blocked again by DeBerg. Missouri up by 4.
DeBerg has Wells' number. She knows when she's coming in and trying to rotate that ball in because she's over-rotating. She's all the way out there on that 1-foot takeoff. It's almost like if she would just give a little bit enough and just kiss that ball right over the block, she might score on DeBerg, but she cannot cut that back in. DeBerg is way too solid of a blocker.
Chance for Carter, trying to end the run. That'll do it. Missouri now leads 8-5.
Nice little fire right to get out of that rotation. Alabama needs to run at least 3 points off of Kaylee Thomas's serve. Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen at home, Alabama took Mizzou to 5 in November. No stranger to the competition and the absolute respect of both teams.
You're exactly right. These two played a tight one in this building last time, as that one went just long, and Alabama now down 1.
And remember, Monet wanted that ball so badly. She is another threat in that backcourt. She's every bit of 5'8", but man, she can jump out of the gym.
Another good serve by Kaylee Thomas, but here's DeBerg, and that one off of St. Germain. Missouri back up by 2.
The executioner, just like you've said multiple times, she's going up and she's just finding a way. She has that extra half second. She's so tall, and so her presence at hang time, just finding where those younger, youthful players are and just picking on them.
I think I like the executioner better than the eraser.
That might be already
Here's
taken.
Ray, that one in, and Alabama once again down 1.
We have this mismatch up here in the front row. You have Ray on the outside against Fuentes, a little bit shorter block. Look for Fisbeck to keep pushing it. You only have two players in the front row.
Here's DeBerg, and that one is stopped, and we're tied. 9-all between the Tide and the Tigers here in set 4.
You're seeing a little bit of fatigue. You can train all you want in the offseason and prep and game-like situations, but it's completely different energy and stamina in a volleyball match. And we're in this 4th set, and you're starting to see some of that fatigue.
Wells to serve after a quick clarification with the book. Tied up. DeBerg. Ray. And Alabama has the lead here in set 4.
She went up high off hands. She's going against DeCruz and Fuentes and just trying to find a way to push that ball on the outside. And she went high off hands against Fuentes.
Auditorium on this Wednesday night. And the Crimson Tide leads it 10-9 over the 9th-ranked Missouri. Gray Robertson, Natalie Ledford here. Natalie, Alabama let Missouri get early leads in sets 1 and 2, but since then the Tide has really fought back to make this a very competitive match.
You're seeing them stick to the game plan. They're keeping that offense balanced and they're mixing it up. Where their critical errors are behind the service line and sometimes in passing fatigue. But give it to Alabama's offense. They are really trying to find a way to mix it up and poke holes at this Missouri Tiger block.
Wells will start us with the serve. To DeBerg. Campbell. Member Manet is trying to get the touch over. Now Ray. DeBerg. Spike down, and we're tied up here in set number 4.
Strong little power tip. Missouri coming in out of that break, just trying to get that energy, get that momentum. A lot more chatter, a lot more communication happening on the Tiger side.
DeBerg just has such control every time the ball comes in her direction. That's kill number 16, 483, her hit percentage tonight.
Can't expect much more from a coaching perspective. That's phenomenal stats.
See if she gets another chance. Now this time it's Dixon. Nice dig there by Nealon, but Alabama couldn't do anything with it, and the Tigers are back on top.
You have Nealon, who has a lot of setting background, and you have Fisbeck. There's just great defense by both of them. And Divine mentioned, you know, if Fisbeck is out of play, then you have Nealon that can come in and make that cutoff, and the offense doesn't stall. But unfortunately, it just wasn't a high enough big box dig, like we call, so Fisbeck could get to it.
A really good answer out of a timeout by Missouri to regain the lead. They do not want it to go to a 5th. Fuentes to serve. Service error, tied up.
I can imagine both coaches are going to be working a lot on serving. Both of them get to come back and play each other tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see what adjustments are made. But for now, let's see who battles it out in front of the service line.
Momentum up in the air right now as Fisbeck delivers another good serve. Just all out of sorts was Missouri right there, and the Tide back on top.
And they need this from this veteran player by Fisbeck. Like we said, she transferred, grad student from Texas, no stranger to high competition and tough scenarios. Just they need her to keep these balls and keep the serve for the Alabama offense.
DeBerg has that deflected down, tied up once again.
And that blocking cadence, they were kind of pogo sticking, if you will. You have Ray and Campbell, very young players, just trying to get a balance and get a tempo and a cadence out there on that pin.
12-all. The All-American to serve for the Tigers.
Going right after Ray.
McElroy trying to work with what she had. Sauer. That one found its way down, and Missouri back up on top.
We haven't said Sauer's name in a long time because Missouri Tigers have either been in system or completely out of system. Sauer getting a great touch. She's executing every time that ball comes out to her.
And another service error to tie it up once again.
We talked to both coaches about some of the timing off. You know, some of them were able to nurse some old nagging injuries. They were able to be fresh in this season. And it's hard. By the time you're a senior, all those reps you're taking on your arms and your legs, and that's Coach Taylor was very, very strong about that stance. And Alyssa Munlin, who's also on the coaching staff, just it's very important for his players to be healthy and strong throughout this season. Give a lot of credit to that.
Well, and again, the longer this match goes, it's been a while since these two teams have played and these players have played. And we might be seeing some of that fatigue already with some of these errors.
Probably a few ice baths in the future of these players.
Absolutely.
After this match.
McElroy. And that's a point for Alabama. Or excuse me.
Yeah, it was a point. McElroy, it was up and over the block. They counted as a point.
You're exactly right.
It was a little confusing there for a second.
Again, first match of the year. St. Germain fires a serve, and beautifully done by Wells to give Alabama the lead.
And passing is so mental. After you've already played a few sets and you kind of know the style of serve. So incredibly mental to just shake it off and get your platform out there. Great job by St. Germain.
Dixon. Wow, nicely done. Tied up yet again.
You're not hearing as much of the out of play chatter, a little bit quieter, and I'm sure Divine wants her team to communicate and keep that energy. She's talking to that bench, she's talking to everybody. Sometimes you got to talk yourself through that energy as fatigue hits.
McElroy. Now Carter. And that one down.
And you could hear from the bench, high hands. So the Alabama front row is being instructed to go after the high part of that block. You got to go up, see that ball, see those hands, and go after high hands. And that was a great execution by Carter.
And Alabama really standing up in the critical moments of this fourth set. It's been about this time in sets 1 and 2 where Missouri really took control. And Alabama hanging around. Sauer. Nicely done by Ray. Carter. Into the net.
And she is frustrated. She's a little bit off that 10-foot line, and her team needs her to be strong. Senior leader, they need that ball when it kicks out to her. She's got to put it away. And you see St. Germain trying to settle down the squad, Nealon, a lot of vocal leaders back there in that backcourt.
Tension ramping up here in Foster. Kept alive by Missouri. Carter. And that one is down. Alabama back in front as that one got tipped by the Tigers.
Finding that fire and that determination. Missouri, they feel like they had that outside pin player shut down and all the balls were moving out to that outside and just mixing it up. Missouri needs to do a better job of focusing on where is Fisbeck setting that ball. It's most likely going to go to the pins, and now you have Aaliyah, Wells, and Ray, two option hitters, is probably going to go to Wells.
Nice serve in a critical moment by the senior Kaylee Thomas. Now Wells. Omazic blocked back. DeBerg. Kept alive. DeBerg again. Ray. Yes, and Alabama takes a 2-point lead here in set number 4, and that one felt huge, Natalie.
Divine even loved it. Great split offense. She wants that tempo. She wants them to keep going off and making those blockers go pin to pin. Started with some excellent hustle by the Alabama squad. Great line shot for Ray. If I'm Fuentes, I'm putting this ball over on a good pass to mix up the offense for the Tigers.
Chance for Missouri. DeBerg. And that one tipped out. Missouri back down 1.
I would like to see Fuentes be a little bit more of an authoritative threat. I know she's going against Ray, who's about 4 inches taller than she is. But if she can keep that tempo and keep the block staying over here, it opens up for DeBerg and DeCruz.
Omazic, a service error. Alabama up 19-17, and that really has been the story here in set number 4 for Missouri.
And that's not what Missouri needs. Omazic and DeBerg, both preseason, all SEC, strong players, both transfers from Illinois. Missouri's looking for those two to really just help up and take a lot of momentum for the team. You see the frustration on Omazic's face. They look tired, Gray. They're looking kind of tired.
Well, it's been a while. Here's Drapp. Into serve. DeBerg. Blocked. DeBerg again. Kept alive. What defense by Alabama.
And the block, we just talked about it in the keys of the match. If they can establish that block, and they were really great in that first set, and it's coming back alive here in this 4th.
Out of this hole that they're in here in the 4th set. Drapp to serve for the Crimson Tide. And that one just missed. Point Missouri. Lindsey Devine did not love the call, but Alabama will agree with it.
I think she was asking, was it outside or back behind the line? It may have fallen short behind that end line, but it snuck out on that sideline. It was a great serve, and unfortunately that's not when you wanted to miss it after that timeout.
Yeah, it still counts as a service error. And gives the ball to Fuentes for Missouri. Ray. That one deflected out, and Alabama 4 points away from forcing a 5th set.
The speed and the tempo, and you know what I like the most are the smiles. There's a relaxation. Those first 2 sets, you're just trying to figure each other out, and you've got a job. This is your first debut playing college volleyball, but now she seems a little bit more relaxed, going up there with some confidence.
Fisbeck. Here's Dixon. DeBerg. Not her best hit right there. Alabama can respond. Ray. DeBerg again. McElroy. Kept alive. Ray. Wide. What a point for Missouri to grab some momentum back. Down 2.
Great defense, great discipline by that backcourt, keeping their offense in play. You have Brown and you have St. Germain just really doing a wonderful job. Great hustle by Brown there, getting in to the coaches' benches. Layout by St. Germain. Give it to the credit to those young ladies in the different colored jerseys. They're putting it all out there on the court.
Here's Ray. Fires that one in. Alabama up 22-19.
And you could feel the boom all the way up here. You could hear that strength. It was wide open, split in the block. Fans are loving it. Great rip by that young lady, freshman, Miss Ray.
Yeah, that one right in the strike zone for Kendall Ray, who will serve now. And a service error. Not what Lindsey Devine wanted right there. 22-20.
It's hard. It's so hard. You come from a big, tough play, and then now she's got to take away that serve. Now she's got to regroup because they're going to pick on her. Brown's going to look to her to serve either Ray or Carter.
Will be Ray. Kept alive by Brown. Sauer. Carter. Dixon. That one beautifully placed. Missouri down 1.
You want your middle to take a little bit off that. That was a great split deep shot. Coach Devine not liking what she's seeing in this momentum. She wants to call timeout because it was a great execution by the Missouri Tigers.
We talked about these teams maybe not being in physical.
Essentially telling her team, you have to talk. You've got to stay mentally tough, and you have to talk, because she was giving that nonverbal signal of the open and closing of the hand like a mouth.
The freshman will serve for Missouri.
Who is not playing like a freshman at all.
Absolutely not. Only one on the roster for the Tigers. Good job by St. Germain, but no one could get to it after that, and we're tied up.
The beginning of the set, Alabama was playing to win, and Missouri was sucked back a little bit on their heels, and now they're playing not to lose. You can see a little bit of hesitancy. You can see a little bit of lack of communication. They need to get back into that vocal, and like Coach Devine said, elevate your voice. You have to be able to communicate to one another because they're all green, except for a couple veterans. You only have one returning player out there on the court right now for Alabama.
And on the other side, this is what you do if you're a top 10 team. You fight back. Beautiful serve from Brown. McElroy. That one deflected out, and Alabama regains the lead.
Omazik having a hard time turning that ball in. Great rip by McElroy. Just something to get them out of system. You have Wells and McElroy and Carter up here in the front row. Fistback has all of her weapons.
And a point for Missouri as Wells got over, tied up once again at 23.
Now for those at home, you cannot go over and cross the plane. And Wells went up and over, and the setter for Missouri has every first right to that ball. Devine's talking to the down ref, and it looks like it did break that plane.
Yeah, it definitely was the correct call, and that means this is a gigantic point. Tied up at 23. Aaron Williamson. McElroy blocked, and Missouri has match point. Timeout called by Lindsey Devine. What a job by the Missouri Tigers. They trailed 20-17 here in set number 4.
Is the serve going? Where is Williamson sending it? If I'm her, I'm sending it in between Carter and Ray in that backcourt to make them move and have to communicate. And if I'm Fistback, I'm trying to find McElroy. If it's a great pass, give it to Wells.
Match point, Williamson to serve. That is long, and the service error story continues. We're tied at 24.
And they wanted to go after Ray, and that showed great discipline by the freshman. So easy on a float serve like that to throw your hands up. Now it'll be Nealon to counter on this serve.
Nealon has served it really well for Alabama. And again, the service error strike, and once again, Missouri has set point.
Not what you want to see from a senior returning player. Need them to make that serve. There's another senior in the backcourt.
I mean, we can feel how tight it is up here. Just the pressure has all of a sudden filled this building. Member Monet. Doris Carter. Kept alive. DeBerg. Out. And Alabama stays alive.
Great pass by Carter. Stayed in system. Great set by Fistback to get it back to Carter. Coach Devine talking to one of her key players that she needs her to stay strong. Uncustomary error by DeBerg.
The executioner tried to end it, but couldn't. Now it's Thomas. DeBerg. Ray. Wide. Another match point for Missouri.
A little bit of hesitancy, not as relaxed. Yes, it's a tight match, but when we saw Alabama successful is they were playing loose. They were confident in their actions, and you're seeing a little bit of a withdrawal.
Omazic. Ray. That one down, tied yet again.
Ooh, I love that. From a freshman who just made a hitting mistake, you went right back at her, and she found a way to kill the ball. That is an early sign of great success when you have that much confidence to go back out there to that young lady.
What a fourth set. Wells. DeBerg. That one down, and Missouri has another chance to end it.
Hitting right over in between Campbell. Campbell's got to find a way to get up and press. Her hands are still a little bit behind her head. DeBerg, just great cut, sharp cross.
Fuentes try and finish it off. Ray. DeBerg kept alive. Dixon down, and Missouri finishes it off in 4.
Great excitement, great momentum. Give it to Missouri, who battled back, loved the energy. You couldn't have asked for a better first match here in Foster.
And how about Missouri proving why they're a top 10 team, down 20-17 in set number 4 and fighting back to win.
Both sides. You had freshmen step up into big shoes. You had senior leaders on the Missouri Tigers literally carry some of their teammates. Wonderful energy, and it's just unfortunate that Alabama's critical errors in those last 5 points of this 4th set that cost them.
You have to think, though, that Alabama learned a lot about their team tonight, and even though it's a loss, they have to be feeling pretty good about a lot of the new pieces on that roster.
And it's setting up for a wonderful, wonderful